Good morning, good evening, good to who needs it. Come make some weird bread with me, and I'm gonna give you a did you know. So at some point I'm gonna have to make a video on Egyptomania because it's a very distinct form of cultural appropriation from just regular cultural appropriation. It's actually one of the longest documented cultural appropriations against Egypt. But for the time being, for today, I wanted to give you just one little Egypt fact, since I seem to have so many of them and I do so love to give them and share them with people. So there is a misconception that Egyptians put offerings in their tombs with the intent that those would be for the dead. That is true. However, it doesn't mean that grave robbing, as we understand it, was to be feared. Egyptians believed that the afterlife was a continuation of life. That was the purpose of mummification. You were turning the body into a statue, something solid which you could use as a placeholder to come back to visit the living. Because it's a culture that has ancestor veneration, and in many cases ancestor deification, especially upper class Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, would have perhaps a small temple attached to their tomb, which people were encouraged to come visit and to bring new offerings, to change out offerings. So the idea that all of these things were buried with the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, so that they would have them in the afterlife is true. But it doesn't mean that they expected everything to be sealed inside and never touched again. A lot of people mistakenly refer to ancient Egypt as a death cult, saying that they worshiped death and that death was such an enormous part of their focus. Really, it's the opposite. They were a life cult. Ancient Egyptians believed in trying their very best to continue life. And because of that, they had to seek ways to continue honoring life even in death. Ancient Egyptian breads. Because I have to tie in the bread, right? Ancient Egyptians loved bread. It was one of their main food staples. It is so funny because I was looking up the quote so that I wouldn't mess it up. And all I could get in response were recipes for Reubens. I don't know what that's about. But one of the quotes from the Egyptian Book of the Dead: 1,000 of bread, 1,000 of beer, 1,000 of flesh and fowl, and everything on which a god lives, to feed his soul in heaven. That was the prescription for how to maintain life after death. So that'll be it for today. If you like this, like it. And I will be here making more things, making more did you knows, making more essays, talking about research I've done for writing books. Thanks for listening.